AMG Hobby Talk number 66. We're back again. No collector of the scalps, no collector of the people, but nonetheless, we press on. First, we got Sherry. Sherry, how are you?
I am doing wonderful. It's a great
Excellent.
Tuesday. Little rainy outside, but
Mhm.
that's okay.
Well, if it's rainy, it means it's not cold enough to be snowing or ice. So that's a step in the right direction. We'll take it.
I think this is the first time it has been above -10 in at least a week, maybe even two.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Bonus Blair, how are you?
I am wonderful as well for a Tuesday.
I will be more wonderful as I consume more of this coffee. But nonetheless,
Yes.
we press on. We press on. So we're going to talk a little bit about. So this week is not going to be focused on one specific product. Usually, if there's one main feature, we'll talk about it. So in this week, it's going to be a mix. We'll talk about some products that are coming in. Again, I'm going to remind everybody, if you are curious about allotments, pricing, anything related to that, reach out directly to the store. Contact points in the description. That is the best way. The website and everything will be a good spot to reach out to. I'll put it on the banner as well if you want to see it. So we've got that information. Again, reach out directly to the folks and they will be able to give you that info directly up to date. You'll know exactly what's in and what's available to you if you want to pick it up locally. Now, at the same time, other thing that we want to make sure we touch on is that we're going to go through these. We're going to go through some stuff that came in the store, and we'll talk about some of your comments from the previous episode, and then we'll briefly touch on kind of an open-ended topic on social media and kind of this space. I'll set it up, and then we'll let the team give their 2 cents. It'll be kind of based on an infamous event, news story that has come out there. But I want to take that idea, and then I want to extend it out to kind of more the topic of how different hobby businesses present themselves on social media. And that includes exactly what we're doing right now. So we'll use the example and we'll talk about it a little bit, but that'll be at the end. So real quick, before we get into it, I'll go over a couple of different products that are coming in. And if there's any that you want to add anything to, Sherry or Blair, then you're welcome to. Let me list off these. And if there's anyone you want to emphasize, we can touch that at the end. So a couple of products that will be coming in. Again, quantities to be determined. You'll be able to reach out and get that information or in pricing as well. So 2024 Panini Mosaic Football International. So that's a specific configuration for that. 2025 Panini Hoops Basketball. It's listed here. Now, we were having this conversation, this debate beforehand. It's listed here as 2024 Panini Squishmallows Blaster. But apparently my understanding is it sounds like something that Blair would surround himself with at home, these Squishmallows, but that's what my understanding.
That's how I sleep every night.
Squishmallows.
That's all I'm saying. The Squishmallows are on here.
It's definitely a popular toy.
They are.
I have no doubt. Zero doubt. 2024 Panini Football Prism Blaster. 2022. It says 2022 Topps Chrome Baseball Blaster. So that's what I'm seeing on this list. So it sounds like 2022. 2024 Topps Finest Basketball. So that is one of the new ones. Topps Finest, though, remember, is still an unlicensed product. Topps does not have the full licensing yet, so bear that in mind. That's important. If you are curious or have additional questions, feel free to ask. But just bear in mind that Topps Fanatics does not fully have the licensing yet. So just bear that in mind. 2024 Topps Finest Basketball, also the Breaker's Delight version. If you're familiar with the Breaker's Delight, it's exactly what it sounds like. It's a configuration where you've got less cards in it. It's all hits. You're not getting any base. It's straight up hits, parallels, inserts, all that stuff is included in these Breaker Delight boxes. So if you really don't like the base cards, you will get straight to the meat. Generally speaking, again, you can ask the team. Generally speaking, they're a little bit more expensive because they're kind of cutting to the chase. They are built for breaks. That's basically what they're designed for.
Yeah.
Okay. And then we do have a couple Pokemon on the listing here. We've got Pokemon Blooming Waters Premium Collection, Pokemon Prismatic Evolutions Mini Tins, and Prismatic Evolutions Surprise Box. What's the surprise?
Yeah, so it's actually a new thing they're doing. So it has a variation. So there's one of the 9 Evolutions promo cards, and they're actually stamped with the Prismatic logo. Then they have 4 dividers, 4 packs, and of course the code card. But it's pretty cool. They have the 8 Evolutions plus Eevee would be the 9th. And the artwork is actually nice. But when you open the box, it's like, I don't know, I guess a 500 count box or 300 count box size, but the artwork's all over it and you can use that. So it's pretty neat, actually.
Cool.
And I think the cards will definitely be chased.
Nice. Sounds good. Again, questions or comments or any thoughts on that, you're welcome to reach out to the store, again, to get availability and pricing. So make sure you do that. Also want to remind everybody, there are the eBay auctions Sunday to Sunday. So that is on there. Links in the description as well. So we've got that. Also we've got the grading kind of, the review service.
Yeah,
Broad rundown on that one.
Service. Yeah. So you can email us to get a form, or you can come in, stop in store. Pricing varies depending on how many you do submit. Basically, Rod looks them over, kind of gives a little note if he sees any flaws, and if he thinks they're eligible for grading, then he'll put them in a penny sleeve and a card saver for you. That way, all you have to do is send them off to PSA.
Perfect. So you can inquire within and you get that information as well. Perfect.
Mhm.
And then the last thing is going to be something that, again, we'll remind you over the next couple of weeks. Obviously, it's the beginning of the month, but towards the end of the month, we're going to have the trade night and card show. So just bear that in mind. It will be included in all the social medias. You'll have dates and times and everything. It is, generally speaking, right at the end of the month. February is a short month, so bear in mind. We will remind you over the next couple of weeks so that you'll have it, and we'll get into the details a little bit as we get closer. But just a reminder that that's coming up as well. So real quick, we'll go through a couple of comments from last week's episode. By the way, really strong response to last week's episode, so appreciate that, and appreciate the comments as well. So first one here, the Loud Collector. So Phil commented in here, missed the live. Great show, everyone. Excited for ClickUp. Well, it wasn't live, but it was a podcast episode. But nonetheless, lives are on hiatus. They will more than likely be back at some point, but again, TBD.
Yeah.
It's all a matter of timing and everything if we can figure it out. But for now, we appreciate the support either way, and we appreciate that you're excited for ClickUp. So that's good. Gotham Collections is here. Always got them. Thank you for leaving a comment. I started collecting sealed Pokemon 3 months before Pokemon exploded because of AMG. I got some great advice on what to look for from AMG, so I picked up Beyond as much as I could, and boy, am I happy now. LOL. Excellent. Excellent. Appreciate it.
Yeah, he definitely has been picking up some Pokemon.
Yep. Excellent. Appreciate you, Gotham, as always. And then last one is just hockey here. Now, this is a tale of two sides of the comment. So I'm going to read it to you, but it's kind of interesting the direction it's. I'm trying to figure it out myself, but nonetheless, we appreciate the engagement. So just hockey says, visited AMG for the first time. Great store and setup. So far, so good. ... So many separate offices and workers. So the setup in the store, yes. It's like a used car dealer lot and vibes. From the comment, so you saying you like used car dealer lots and vibes because it was a great store and setup, but I'm a little bit lost here. I feel like we went in two different directions on this one.
Maybe because the offices lined up on one side of the wall, and I used to work at a car dealership many years ago, and now that I think of it, that's kind of how it was. You have your main showroom and then all the offices down the side. So we have a card showroom and offices, all the behind the scenes.
Well, if you follow Blair into his office, he'll get you into some Pokemon or a used Honda Civic.
Yeah, it's right here in the corner, believe it or not.
Amazing. Well, nonetheless, we appreciate the comments. So thank you to everybody for the engagement and comments.
It is funny though,
stuff.
because you see most card shops, well, obviously the PSA submission center is also located in our store, but a lot of card shops really wouldn't have that many offices kind of right in the center of everything. But there is a lot more that goes on behind the scenes that people don't see. So there is a lot of office work involved in what operations we run out of the store. So it is a big operation, I should say.
Yep,
absolutely. Listen, I happen to know that 3 or 4 of those offices are just so Blair can hoard his Squishmallows.
Yeah.
True story.
And one for Steve Scallops.
Yeah.
Oh God, I don't even want to discuss that. I don't even want to discuss that. That's part of his contract, part of his retainer. So nonetheless, we appreciate and thank you all for the comments. Okay, so let's go over a couple of items. Last week, we actually ran a little bit long because we had a lot. The people got very passionate on a couple of topics last week. So we ran a little long. So we actually have some carryover from last week, some items that came in the store. And we're going to start off with a comic book. So it's going to be very exciting. So let me go through a couple of items here and we'll showcase a little bit. And if you ever see anything that interests you or you're curious about, same deal. Reach out to the store directly because some of this stuff gets sold even before we show it to you. Other stuff is available in the store. So if you are curious about anything, just reach out directly. That is the quickest way. Otherwise, comments, we'll generally respond to them within the next episode. Usually that's how we'll do it. So first one, we got our giant size X-Men, which if memory serves me, Blair, was the very first. This was the very first kind of X-Men annual. This one became very famous at the time. Now, one important note, these are not rare, but they're extremely popular because at the time, this was a big deal. And this is 1975. This was a very big deal. And I think, was this the first appearance of Wolverine as part of it as well?
No, it falls in the second full appearance of Wolverine. So the first appearance of Wolverine was Hulk The Incredible Hulk 181.
Oh, I'm sorry. What I meant was with the X-Men.
Yes, correct. Yeah. So it was the first appearance of the new X-Men,
Yes.
and second full, I guess, cameo or appearance of, and the first with Wolverine with the X-Men.
Right.
Yeah.
Because
And
I
it's-
remembered
and
it was something in that vein. Yeah.
Yeah, and there's the first full of first appearances of a few of the X-Men characters like Storm and a few of the other ones. So yeah, really, really key book. Like you said, it back when it came out, it was really popular, and it still holds that today. If people are looking to add to their kind of collection, this is one that people kind of chase. So it was fun to have it come into the store. It was a fine young gentleman came in with this one and another really neat book that was a high grade autographed by one of the writers, and I was able to buy the other one, the autographed one, on day one, and I think he had a little attachment to this one because he did a trade of some books that he loved for this one, and then the next day he kind of showed back up and thought about it, and he was happy with the deal, so I was able to pick this one up too. So yeah.
Excellent.
And that's available in store.
Beautiful. So yes, you can inquire about it. Yeah, that's one of those kind of interesting kind of. It's a key issue for the 70s for them because it does showcase some things that would become a big deal for them later on. So that's why it's notable in particular. And it was their first giant size that came as part of it. One other thing that also is kind of interesting in relation to this whole thing was that, to me, and this is kind of weird, and this is where sometimes it gets a little weird for me, Sherry. Sometimes it's like obviously this was a big deal at the time and everything, and it kind of was in the modernish era. But I'm sitting there, 1975. I was like, that wasn't that long before I was born. It's kind of a little worrying. I'm not feeling good about that because 1975, that's 50 years ago.
I know.
Carlos, did you have to go?
All right, look, I'm sorry. The maths are the maths. I'm not liking this. I'm not, Sherry. I'm not. This is the same problem I have with Topps right now, Sherry, because they do their 35-year anniversary, and I'm sitting there like, I remember collecting the cards that are now the 35-year. I'm not liking where this is going. I'm not a fan. I open packs of that stuff. This isn't cool. It's not cool.
It's definitely crazy.
I am older than this book. That's all I have to say. Sad face Blair.
Sad face Blair. Yep. There you go. So anyway, so you can join Sad face Blair and buy the book. So if you come in store, you can do
Please. Yeah.
that. Okay. Next up, we've got a couple of these. Again, same vein as what we were talking about a little bit earlier about Topps Fanatics. It is unlicensed stuff, but it does also provide opportunities. And so this is an example I'll use of this. This is 2023 Topps Composite. It's a CJ Stroud. It's what's called the White Power Surge. It is in a PSA 10. Very nice. It does have the rookie logo on it because it is a rookie year card for him.
Yeah.
But the reason why I say it can offer opportunities, this is not a licensed card. You can see on the side of its helmet, it's completely photoshopped out the logo. So you're not going to see the logo on there. One, it is a neat looking card, but two, because it is an unlicensed card, if you are interested in CJ Stroud, this is going to cost less than it would if you had that logo on there.
Yeah.
So if you're just interested in collecting the card for the aesthetic, you can still have a nice card. The pricing is adjusted accordingly because the market doesn't like the unlicensed as much. But if you're holding out for the licensed world when they're completely fair, totally get you, then you got to stick to Panini products because that's all you got on there. But Topps had accessibility to them, so they decided to make the card. But this is an example of, I like the design. I think it's got a lot going for it. It might be a little too busy for you, but I think it's interesting they tried it, and you do have an autograph on there. So there you go.
And it is numbered.
Yep, I think it's 11 to 20 on that one. So it is a lower numbered card.
Oh, for a second I was like,
It's
just right here.
well,
it's hard to see. Yeah. It might be even 22. I forget now.
Yeah, I think it's 20 on there. I think it's 20 flat. Yeah. So then we got 2023 Bowman Chrome University, Shadur Sanders, the Big Kahuna autograph. So we got that on there. So Bowman University. So that's another one. That's Prime's kid, one of his kids there. Yeah, Deion Sanders' kid playing on there. This is what happens when the coffee hasn't kicked in fully yet. So, but nonetheless, it is interesting, and they do have a little bit of fun one. The whole Kahuna thing. I like their different little sections of it. But that is Bowman University. So it is a college card. So you don't have to worry about the licensing thing, but nonetheless, it's there. You can see Colorado. You can see the stuff on the helmet. It's all there. So that one's in an 8, so that might be an opportunity as well. Again, you can check it out. Your mileage may vary. Now, this one's an interesting one. I saw this one was pretty good. So this one here, we've got a rookie quad memorabilia of Lamar Jackson. So this is kind of a fun one. Number 225, really nice patch pieces. Lamar obviously has had another MVP caliber season. I don't think they've officially announced it yet, but there's a really good chance he'll win the MVP again this year. This would be a third MVP. Big time for him. Now, we will need to see him do something in the playoffs these couple of years because this was an opportunity. This year was a big opportunity for him. But nonetheless, he is racking up a Hall of Fame caliber resume. 3 MVPs is nothing to sneeze at. 2 MVPs is already very good. 3 MVPs puts you in kind of an elite echelon.
Yeah. And he had a great year stats wise. So yeah, I think that's where a lot of the support for him. But like you said, not a lot of playoff success or obviously no big wins. But yeah.
Yeah. So he'll have another chance next year. He's still in his prime, so he's still got an opportunity. But it's one of those things where he is racking up hardware, but we're gonna need to see a little bit of playoff excellence to go along with it. But you never know. This team is still good, so there's going to be an opportunity again next year. Very cool looking cards, but you can definitely check in on that. Number 225. All right, here we go. We got a 2023 Prism Lamar Jackson Profiles. This is one of those kind of Panini kind of case hits kind of deal. So Profiles is kind of I do actually like the Profiles, especially some of the designs. It's got, obviously the silhouette of the player in the background with an action shot kind of in the front. So it's kind of a cool looking card. And this one's in a PSA 10. So good combo on that one. Then here we got Derrick Henry. So this is kind of the other side of the equation here. This is still a Titans card at the same time with the rookie year logos. 2016 Panini Spectra. Big fan of Spectra, so I like a lot of those. Derrick Henry autograph patch. So this is an 8 with a 9 autograph on there. I like the Spectra cards. Obviously, it's got a nice piece of patch on there. I'll always double check the back. Most of these are player worn, or in some cases, it's not from any particular. From 2016, I'm not sure. You'll have to check the back of the card.
Right.
Always check the text because they will. If it's very vague, then take it with a grain of salt. And for rookie year, it wouldn't surprise me if it's player worn or something to that effect. So just double check. So look at it as an aesthetic piece. It's mostly an autograph from a rookie year piece from Spectra. Cool looking card nonetheless.
Yep.
All right, then we got ourselves some Tom Brady. So 2022 absolute Tom Brady explosive. Very shiny card, obviously, in a PSA 10. And this is from his run with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So absolute football on this one.
Very similar to Caboons.
On this one, they're using the same kind of pattern on this one. And then to finish it up here, we got 2013. So very timely on this one. 2013 Panini Prestige, Travis Kelce, rookie year here. Autograph, extra points red. So this one is an authentic card with a 10 autograph on here. So authentic is an interesting choice on this one. I'd be kind of curious why they opted in this direction, but nonetheless,
I would have to say something with the foil. It looks like it got some.
It looks
some
very
scratching
foily.
and yeah,
it's an interesting one. So I would say, obviously, I don't know the specifics of this card, but I would recommend for folks if they are going to go. By the way, there are folks that will get these cards encapsulated, even regardless of a condition, especially for a rookie year card of somebody like a Travis Kelce. I would probably just put the number grade on it. Authentic, you're not fooling anybody. People are going to look at it twice anyway as soon as you put authentic on there. Nothing wrong with it because it means the card's real. But nonetheless, the autograph is kind of the selling point on this one. I would just leave the number grade on there and leave it be. Some people will still be interested in it regardless because, again, some people will still be interested in the authentic as well. So, but I'd put a number grade on it. That would be my suggestion. To each their own. The important part on this card, though, is the autograph. In this case, the autograph is nicely intact. So it is on there and it is encapsulated for you.
Yep.
Good stuff. So we got a nice mix there. We got some football. We got comic book. Actually, I think we ended up doing all football. So there you go, thematic with the Super Bowl coming up. And then we had the comic book. So there you go.
Good choice.
Perfect. All right. So real quick before we get into our last topic here to kind of finish it off, it'll be a little shorter episode this week, but that's all right. Real quick, I want to get you're welcome to take a shot in the dark here. I want a Super Bowl pick. Blair, Kansas City Chiefs, Philadelphia Eagles. What's happening? Are we getting a three-peat, or will the Eagles break the streak?
I want to see. This may not be popular, but I'm going to go with Kansas City. I'd like to see the three-peat. As much as I think Philadelphia are a great team, and I think they have a chance to beat them, but and Barkley's had an awesome season. Probably should be more. I don't know how close that'll be. People say he won't get the MVP, but I think he had an MVP season.
MVP caliber, yeah.
Yeah, but I got to go for the Chiefs. I like them, and I like what they can do. I think it's history, so we'll have it.
There you go. Sherry, 50-50 shot. Whatever you like. What do you say? What say you?
I'm going Casey.
Taylor Swift.
There you go.
Yeah, I went there.
All of my
Honestly,
Taylor Swift
I'm
hat.
probably gonna go Taylor Swift. I personally, she's not my cup of tea. Is she?
Well,
fantastic
she's
at
more
what she
Blair's
does?
cup of tea. We
Yeah,
heard about his Taylor
she
Swift
is.
fixation.
But
Very.
I don't listen to Taylor Swift. Except we're in the store and Steve
Swifties,
did.
don't come after me. Don't come after Blair. His fealty to T Swift is already noted. Leave us be.
I liked
So
her older.
I
stuff.
listen
I don't
to
love
those.
her new music.
Yeah. She has been actually. I told my daughter she's been on I think it's Brad's been mucking around with
Yeah.
the playlist a few days. He's been in here. So I think Taylor's been on a bit. So I told my daughter, I said, I was listening to Taylor, but yes, I listen to Taylor. It's mostly in the van when I'm driving with my daughter. She totally takes control, and although she does branch off into a couple others, so I am learning about the modern music, but yeah.
Oh, that's so good.
I do wish Blair would have a little more influence there because I feel like we find the lack of you God disturbing. We need a little more you God. You know,
I forgot. I was gonna check into you, God, and I totally got.
you're getting your weekly reminder to check on your you God. To check on your you God. It will never. It made me so. These are the things that give me joy, Sherry. When I can find something like it's like in the checklist, you God. This makes me very happy. It really does. All right, so there you
I love
go.
it.
I already gave a prediction on my podcast on my YouTube channel, but you know, if you ever want to check, because I'm Carlos, it literally is what you type in.
Yeah,
But
we
anyway,
pick up the
so
Friday night shows, definitely.
I know for a fact that look, I can make a case for both teams. I really can. Very easily I can make a big case for both teams. Obviously they're very good, otherwise they wouldn't be in the position they're in right now. But I think a three-peat is very difficult. I don't think the Kansas City Chiefs can't do it. I think they definitely can. But every time you go have a deep playoff run, it's tougher and tougher to come back. They've done very well to get to this point. They've played a ton of close games. All it would take is one bounce to go against you, and it can mess up your whole plan.
Yep.
I think Philadelphia, if they're smart, I think a healthy dose of Saquon Barkley, a lot of running, a lot of controlling the ball.
Yep.
If they can do that, they keep the ball out of Patrick Mahomes' hands. If they are successful, I think that's the formula to victory. I think this is a Kansas City Chiefs team that is beatable, but I think you have to play the right style and you cannot make mistakes. If Philadelphia can manage this, I believe for this one game, I think they can avoid the mistakes. If they do, I think Philadelphia will win and wreck the opportunity to three-peat. I would like to see the three-peat personally. For me, I would like to see it, but I am going to pick Philadelphia because I feel like the conditions are right. If somebody's going to knock them off, these are the right conditions.
Very true.
So that is.
And Philly has a great defense, so I think if they can pressure Mahomes a little bit more, and of course Hurts, yes, exactly. Philly has to go heavy. Barkley, let him run the ball, and then Hurts can't make any mistakes when he throws the ball. So no, you're right. It could go either way, but I'm hoping for a three-peat because of how difficult it is, and we'll see where it goes. It's going to be a good game.
Well, Blair's rooting for history. I can't blame him because it's never happened. It's one of those things like we've never seen it. I would love to see it, but because it could be another generation before anybody has a shot. It's one of those things like it's very difficult. We forget to do a three-peat. You got to win the championship twice in a row, and that's actually also very difficult to do. So it's we'll see. We're rooting for history, but at the same time, I'm just picking Philadelphia based on the logic of the current conditions. So we got that.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay. So we'll finish up with this one. Let me quickly lay the groundwork. It doesn't have to be a very long conversation, but I do want to touch on it briefly. One of the things that has been making the rounds on YouTube and social media in the hobby space is kind of backyard breaks and their latest controversy. I'm not going to go into all the gory details. If you are following a lot of different things like this, you're going to pretty much know what it is. What it comes down to is a live stream from Backyard Breaks, who already are infamous in the space with a number of controversies. Not one, not two, many controversies in the space. So on a Whatnot stream, one of the co-owners of it basically came up with a whole hypothetical scenario. And the way I described it on my Friday Live is the way I'm going to describe it now. And again, if you want to really know what it is, trust me, the video is circulated. You can find it. If that's what you want to find out about, knock yourself out. But the point is that basically he came up with this whole hypothetical scenario where under normal circumstances, it's pretty much something that would, this is the way I described it, it's something that would get you on a watch list. You can pretty much understand my inference from that. It's something that you cannot justify. It's something that goes beyond comedy, jokes, satire, whatever you want. It transcends all that, and it gets you straight into a category of where you're treading on very dangerous ground. Any other type of business, you would be immediately removed. He is a part owner of that company, so it created kind of a unique, problematic situation. To me, also problematic was that the chat didn't check him on it very quickly, and the one he was co-hosting with, who also works there, kind of seemingly egged it on. It's a bad look for everybody, and it brought a lot of very, very uncomfortable questions to a lot of breakers. I was listening to Mojo Sports, their podcast. They dedicated almost half an hour to discuss it because it's their business. They're breakers, so it's a bad look for all breakers in the space, and it's a bad look for that type of business. Whatnot's response has been very weak, very lukewarm, in my opinion. So the angle I wanted to take on this, though, is something that I touched on my podcast and also on the Friday Live. Businesses in general, most businesses in normal space, I'm going to put normal in brackets, or in quotation marks, I should say, have like PR people. Their job is to figure out who can say what, when they can say, especially if they're speaking for the company. Well, a live stream is very unique because you are always speaking for the company as soon as you're on that platform. And I talked about the understanding, and I think because these guys are in their 20s, they're a little bit still on the younger side. They may not understand, having grown up with the internet completely from scratch. I'm old enough to have predated the internet. I understand what it was like before the internet, the beginning of the internet, and today. Every single time we do one of these things, we are being recorded. We have to be cognizant of what we're saying. But if it's a business thing, we got to be even more cognizant of what we're saying, because it's how you're presenting yourself. Well, Sherry and Blair are literally representing the AMG store. When I'm here, I'm hosting for AMG. So what I say is a reflection on that. But even when I'm on my own platform, what people that I invite to my Friday live stream or to my podcast, whatever they're saying, I have to be aware of that because it's a reflection on me. It's my place. It's my platform. These guys didn't understand that. Clearly did not understand that, hey, everything you're saying represents it. So when we do a podcast like this, we also have an understanding of that. We'll talk about products. We'll talk about different aspects of it. We may not go into full depth in certain conversations that may otherwise, we can have a conversation offline about opinions and everything, but the job here is to present it, give you the information, and make sure the information is accurate. As long as the information is accurate, we've accomplished what we needed to do here. But that's the difference. Now, if you come in the store and say, hey, what do you think about this? You may get a different answer. You may get a more detailed answer, a little bit more of a different presentation. But that's because when we're here, we're presenting one specific type of thing, not to be inaccurate because you don't want to lie, but at the same time, your public face is very important and it has to be very considered and measured. So that's the underline. So I just want to get your thoughts because obviously, Sherry, we've been doing this for a while. And before that, I was doing with Brad on PSA Canada. And it was the same kind of deal. You're dealing with a business that then is presenting itself to everybody. And you want to make sure you present yourself in a good light, but you don't want to lie to anybody or misrepresent anything.
Yeah.
But there is a delicate balance of what you say and how you say it. So I just want to get your general thoughts on that. Obviously, speaking like from a store, what we're doing here, your social media on Instagram and these other platforms as well, how you're presenting yourself on there also matters. What you say and how you say it, all of that is part of the deal.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing, just being respectful of the viewers and your community and your customers, making sure you're aware of what you're putting out there. Like I say, I don't like to put things in writing. I like to make sure that I have a conversation. And when you're doing a podcast or a live or a video, it's pretty much the same thing as putting it in writing. It's there. It's going to be out there. It's not going to go away. So I think definitely having to be mindful and aware and respectful. Can things get taken out of contrast or out of conversation? Yes, there could be. I'm not saying this scenario and specifically, but in general, if you're having a conversation and somebody takes a snippet out of that conversation and posts it elsewhere, it could be taken out of contrast, right? So you don't know what was before, what was after, what brought it to that conversation, but it doesn't matter, in my opinion. You have to be aware. You can't, I don't know how to say it. It's disgusting, to be quite honest. You have to be aware of these things. And like you said before, you're representing a company. It's my name. It's my face. It's our store. It's my team. If that were to happen on my end, it wouldn't be very pretty. I can tell you that much. But just being very mindful, aware, and respectful to everybody that you're dealing with, that you're sharing with. It's extremely important.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Yeah, I agree with everything Sherry said. I think it comes down, and it obviously comes down to the people and the people you have, and I think I mean, our conversations are pretty much, and I didn't see this podcast. Sorry, Carlos gave me a little insight. But I mean, to me, like when we do our thing, we're very store focused. I mean, we joke around and we talk about certain topics. Actually, this is a great one that Carlos brought up. But most of what I do anyway is very store focused and that kind of thing. So I obviously try to keep my language. I'm not a big outburst person, but I try to keep everything in line. And I mean, you're trying to present a very professional, respectful, normal, which I think if you're that type of person, that kind of falls in line. So I don't know where this thing went off the rails, and it sounded like it did. And kind of being a dad of an 11-year-old girl, I failed to see what that had to do with anything that they were doing as far as being a breaker. So it was really weird. But yeah, it's totally uncalled for. And but we're in this kind of era of social media, and there's a lot of stuff out there, and but I think but Sherry, I think you just have to be respectful of the people, and that's what we're trying to build, and of your clients and your customers, and I think people respect you for that when you do that.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Now, one thing I'll kind of add just to kind of finish off on this thought. So thank you both for giving your thoughts on that. One important thing that I was kind of outlining when I gave my preamble. I felt the preamble was important because that way I could lay the groundwork on kind of some general thoughts and then open it up to you guys to add anything or give any thoughts on it. My underlying point of this is I understand the difference between younger folks now that are basically growing up on the internet. It's become very comfortable to say everything that's on your mind. But so this is the criteria I use when I was talking with the guys on the podcast and also on the live. I gave the example of on my channel, I'm accountable for what appears on that channel, even if it's not coming out of my mouth. I have to kind of set the ground rules, so to speak, because everybody that comes on understands that, hey, I have to be able to answer for it. Even if it's not my intention to have to answer for somebody else, if I bring you on and then you go out of pocket, which this certainly qualifies out of pocket, we got a problem, because now I've got to figure out what I need to do in order to make sure that if I'm not cool with it, I'm not cool with it. But the idea though is that it's almost like different personas. The Friday live stream, and Sherry can attest to this, it's very loose. It's very relaxed. We have a lot of fun. We'll joke on a lot of things. But I did make the point this past Friday, because for that segment, we actually got very serious because it was more appropriate for the topic. And one of the things that I said on that situation is, we'll have a lot of jokes. We'll have a lot of fun. We'll mostly make fun of Eric. That's basically, what everyone wants us to do, and really what we enjoy doing, because frankly, it's fun.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of situations where Eric or someone may say something that could lead to a joke. And this is exactly the way I phrased it. There are a lot of times where the opening could be to take the joke a lot further than we will. But it's an experience thing. It's also an understanding thing to know that there is a line, and also to have the maturity to understand, yeah, we could go past that line, but it would probably be better if we stayed on this side of the line. So we don't have to go beyond that point, because it's not appropriate. Because I need to be able to, understanding it's a live stream, understanding that it is recorded. And that's kind of my underlying point on this. Because it's recorded, I need to be able to be okay with someone playing that back to me. If someone played that back, would I be able to either answer for it or say, yeah, I did say that? Or would I have to try to shy away from it or apologize for it? If the answer is the latter, then you shouldn't have said it in the first place, because it was recorded. And that's a very simple standard that even these young folks should understand. Assume it's being recorded. And what would you do if I played that back at you? Or if I played it in your place of business? If I played it in front of your friends, in front of your family?
Right.
Would you be okay? Or would you suddenly have to kind of try to downplay it and apologize for it? If that's the case, then maybe it shouldn't have come out of your mouth in the first place.
Yeah.
And that goes for
bar.
anything in general, and like not specifically, like I said, not just specifically this scenario. But I think it's just important to be aware of your surroundings, who you're speaking to, who you're speaking with, what topic you're speaking about. Some people are going to be more sensitive than others, understandably, but at the same time, there's just, like you said, lines don't have to be crossed, especially in such a public way, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And Sherry hit on the keynote. It's knowing where you are. That's why I say even in my online life, I've got multiple personas. They change depending on the situation. This version of me hosting the show is going to be more tempered than what I'm going to do on my podcast. The podcast is more tempered than what I'm going to do on a Friday live stream when I'm just hanging out. But at all times, I understand exactly where I'm at and also where my lines are and what's appropriate and inappropriate. And I can stand behind everything I say. Look, I've been on the AMG TV before. And so I got to make sure that we got to keep it cool. We got to keep it cool, you know?
Yep.
We got to make sure we stay cool. Otherwise, it's like, that'd be verboten. Then I don't get on TV anymore. That'd be very sad.
True.
Same. So I just wanted to touch on that. A little lightheartedness at the end. But the important thing, I think the underlying message was important because I think if you are a business in the space, they demonstrated, gave you a master class in what not to do here. Because if you're operating as a business, you have to understand that you have to create the boundaries. You're the one who has to decide what the boundaries are. Sometimes it should be common sense, but clearly sometimes it's not. Assume you're being recorded. Are you okay with this being replayed back at you? If the answer is no at any point, then maybe that means that you shouldn't go there.
Mm-hmm. And I just want to add too, yes, it's a business, but at the same time, you're portraying the person that you are to everybody too. There's lots of people that sit out here on cameras and behind what you call the keyboard warriors and stuff that really aren't the person that they're showing who they are. But I can for sure tell you that my team and Carlos, when we're sitting here, we are who we are. We're not just saying be respectful. That's just the people that we are too. So I think that's important to take into account. You never know, I guess, what somebody might actually be like or their personality. So just be aware of that too.
Mm-hmm. Well said. So on that, we'll leave this episode. So we thank you for indulging us a little bit in our TED Talk. It was important that we got that out there. So that's critical. Back to regularly scheduled foolishness next week. So we will be back on that. And then, like I said, if there's any questions about any of the stuff we were talking about today, the cards that we showcase, ask away, reach out to the store directly. Questions about new products coming in, reach out directly for quantities and pricing. You'll get all that information directly. That is the best venue to ask. And you can go and ask Blair about his T-Swift, allegiances, because apparently Sherry has let us down. So again, the T-Swift,
Taylor Swift?
Leave us be.
Brad probably has it playing in the store for PSA right now.
As you should, yeah. But look, the important is Swifties, leave us be. We're men of peace. We did nothing. You can speak to Sherry on these matters. Have the debate with her. Leave us be.
Sure.
I don't listen. I'm not messing with the forces of the Swifties, Sherry. I'm not messing with those folks.
Right. I won't say anything else.
Yeah.
I was going to say you've already endangered us all. Again, that's what we see. We are separating ourselves from this. We're creating a barrier so that we're protected from the Swifties.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying. So anyway, good luck to everybody. Hopefully, if you do check it out, enjoy the Super Bowl. So that'll be coming up here. This episode will drop on Wednesdays. The episodes drop on Wednesdays. We'll be back next week, potentially with the Collective the Scouts, Collective the People. So we'll see. He's gallivanting off, doing important business meetings. So we'll let him have his moment, but then we'll be back. So for Sherry and for Bonus Blair, we thank you for checking this one out, and we will catch you in the next one.